What's up, everybody? How's it going in the house? How's it going here? As I move my monitor out of the frame. Good to see everybody in the house here today. What's up? All those members that are out there that got the notification, those that didn't get the notification, those that might want the notification. Of course, it's good to see you out there in the chat tonight. Late stream, but you know what? We got to make it happen. There were enough when there are a certain number of critical bad takes on Twitter. Your boy Legal Mindset has to come out here and he has to make something. He's got to stream. He's got to do something. I can't just let it go unanswered. And today's been a long day with me. I've been started out teaching my class, business law in the morning. Then I jumped over with Tom Connors, Nina Infinity, Force of Light, and we talked about a lot of issues. We talked about the Nick Carter case. We talked a little bit about brand, but I didn't really get to go in on some of the things I wanted to go in on. And I try to save a little special sauce for Legal Mindset and Legal Mindset channel. So we're going to really get into some of the specific new developments and updates that I think are absolutely ridiculous. And the more and more I see, the more and more I'm convinced it is a mainstream media hit job. That being said, I'm going to wait for the any cases to be filed or anything to be pressed. But the more you see, the more you think the mainstream media is being disingenuous, especially when you've been in the trenches against the mainstream media, when you've been fighting them for so long, as we have on this channel. We've been battling the mainstream media since really the foundation of this channel. You see their tactics, you see through their bullshit. And it's very frustrating for people who have come through the Amber Heard era. In fact, people who profited off of Amber Heard, who profited off of that trial, who grew off that trial, going ahead and pretending like it never happened and pretending like the mainstream media doesn't lie, doesn't misrepresent, and takes whatever they said, just spoonful of sugar, just straight up their rectum, just directly delivering that mainstream media crack into their system because they need to get a fix and because they're desperate for a story. And it's very sad because many of these people are fellow YouTubers and even some of them are fellow colleagues, right? So we're going to talk about it today. As always, I don't hold back. I don't pull punches. So yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. Let's see. Pilgrim Media says, we did live. F it. We'll do it live. Yes, we're doing it live. We're doing it live. This is indeed a live, not a premiere. We now have the live emojis in the chat if you're a member. So you can drop your live emojis like Andrew F here, dropping his live emojis. Appreciate that. All those that are loving this. Now, I will be, by the way, I do have a premiere on Lauren and Bober on my other channel, which is Illegal Mindset. And I will be doing a little bit of direction that way after this ends, after this concludes, so you guys can go enjoy that over on Illegal Mindset. However, for now, we're here. Yeah, I'm calling out a lot of people today. Blue Fire, calling out a lot of people today. I do it. I'm never afraid of doing it. Particularly, listen, when people need to realize, like, hey, I see what you're doing. I notice what you're doing. Senpai notices you, and let's just say it. Let's just say what everyone's thinking. That's always been my channel. Is we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna be real about it. Okay, so let's start with this though. And this article is a little bit of the warm up here regarding Kristen Bell. So we'll start with this. And this is an article that got going recently, really this morning. And the photo that they keep putting out here is this photo, right? So they try to put this photo out here up front, which is obviously a comedic photo, right? So I'll tuck myself here. So obviously this is a comedy photo, right? Obviously this is something that is not serious. This is not a sexual situation where he's like kinkily choking her out, right? No, it's a joke. It's funny, but they're trying to put this on the front page to seem like, oh, look, it's him being problematic. It's him being questionable, right? Which is really, it's disingenuous. It's sensationalist. It's kind of bullshit. But we'll read what happened here. So look, the title of the article is Kristen Bell warned Russell Brand not to try anything. So okay. So this statement being taken wildly out of context. Let's read what this actually means, right? So Kristen Bell warned co-star Russell Brand not to mess with her, right? Okay, I'm going to edit out, by the way, any sensationalist comments here. So, for example, right, this article adds in years before sexual abuse claims came to light. Well, once again, I like how they put claims, but they make this sound by putting it like this. They make it sound like those claims are well founded, while they're actual, as if they're based in fact, as if they're proven, right? So saying not to mess with her. And then right here, this is what she actually said, right? He didn't try to mess with me or get in my pants. He knew I would lop his nuts off, right? I made it clear in the beginning I would sock him in the balls if he tried anything, so he was intimidated. But then when you look at her actual statement, she said she loved working with him, and she might be the only woman in the world who would shout that from the rooftops. So saying she loved him, she loved working with him, no problems, no allegations, no anything else. So once again, the mainstream media framing what is a nothing burger, burying the nothing burger, burying the fact that it's nothing, but framing it in a way to sensationalize. We saw this with Johnny Depp. We saw this in many other cases. We saw this with Rammstein. In their Me Too case, it was just dismissed. With Manson, all this other stuff, it just happens time and time again where they will take one small context thing that a woman said about a man and then twist it around to mean something entirely different, completely different. Hunch says, got 6 hours till Bow Bridge, so you got to do a long stream. Just saying. Listen, man, I'm not sticking around for 6 hours. You got that's nuts. You crazy. What do I look like? I got a giant nose and a whiskey problem. Come on, despite having the whiskey behind me, come on. But a very, very, very scumbag move from the mainstream media. But the thing is, guys, it's not just, and we got to be very fair, and I try to be even-handed here. It's not just the left wing that's doing this. It's also people on the right, right? And we cannot say, oh, well, this is just something that's happening with crazy leftists, because we all know the mainstream media is leftist. We all know people like Meme Copium, raging leftists, really raging leftists, really a communist over there in Japan, who I look forward to hanging out with next month when I'm over there in Japan. And also, not as ragingly awesome with his hat attire as Integrally Legal Thailand. Good to see you, Ben, in the chat as well. I do like this comment. If a man cannot enjoy autoerotic asphyxiation, the terrorists have already won. Very true, Ben. Very, very, very true. But listen, it's not even that situation. They didn't do anything. They didn't mess around. They were totally fine. So I want to bring up, look, the conservative waifus are big on this too. And this one thing why I like bringing up is you find this rare unity between the left and the right when it comes to Me Too issues and gender issues, particularly when it comes to a lot of commentators, particularly female commentators. And actually, this commentator is someone who I actually like, I actually agree with on 99.9% of things, and who I have a reasonable conversation with. In fact, I've been invited on her show in the past. But that being said, Megyn Kelly had a statement which I want to talk about and get into with what's going on here with being kind of triggered by this incident and the reaction to it. So first of all, this is coming from Andy Signori. So I got to call out Andy, because Andy has been one of these people that I think is playing the side of the mainstream media because he knows he'll get reactions out of it on X. And one thing I've seen, I think, and this is something that is coming up more and more, is people are being more contrarian now on X, on Twitter, because X now allows you to monetize. And they know that if you interact with them, you're going to monetize their bad behavior, you're going to monetize their BS opinions, because you're going to interact with their bad tweet. So I think a lot of people are going out and putting out things that are very extreme because they want to get that attention, right? So we'll talk about Andy, and then yes, I'm going to talk about Nate a little bit later on. We'll talk about kind of his transforming argument here on this, And once again, these are people. Andy, I'm happy to go on his show. I'm happy to say it, but I'm also happy to call him out and say, look, I see what you're doing. It's not a bad grift. Listen, it's not a bad grift. It's a very easy way to make money to be contrarian on X and just put out an opinion that may be a little bit disingenuous in order to get a massive amount of clout, right? And I respect that. Look, hey, it's a grift, you're working the grift. I get it, buddy. I totally get it. And it's something that I have to tip my hat to, because it's a proven lucrative method of making money and getting engagement on X and on Twitter. Meme Copium says, God damn it, I've been contrarian for years for free. Yes. It's not that you've been contrarian, it's have you been contrarian in a way that's going to monetize, not just by not buying Halo when it first came out. Come on. Anyways, let me read his comment. So he goes, facts, Megyn Kelly, it's scary how far the pendulum has swung the other way, right? People don't even seem to notice they're doing it. Allegations start coming out and some people immediately try to discredit them. Here's an idea. Let's wait a beat and listen. This sounds a lot like Believe All Women, though, Andy. See, here's the problem, Andy, is that what he's saying means you are not allowed, you are banned from commenting on it at all, right? You're banned on making any sort of questions about it. So asking reasonable questions is not prohibited. No, you should subject it to the full scrutiny. You should be able to question everything. That's totally possible. And that's what goes on in our legal process, is you do question everything. Also, really quick shout out to a good friend of the channel, Legally Dirty Bomb Podcast, who says, okay, but Megyn is a smoke show. Lee can agree on that. That's true. We can definitely agree Megyn's a smoke show. And definitely, Megyn, listen, lovely woman. Still looks great. Mwah. Prime condition there. But Megyn, good content normally, good content. Just this take, I'm not agreeing with. So let's listen up here and see what Megyn's got to say.
You guys, I realize that the knee-jerk instinct now by so many is Russell Brand is wrongly accused. These women are all liars. I'm sorry, this is extremely detailed. And in the case of the other woman, there's an actual set of medical records after she went to a rape crisis center the day of the alleged encounter, plus apologetic, begging for forgiveness text from Russell Brand. Could you please, for a second, stay open-minded to the possibility that the women are telling the truth? We don't need to so overcorrect from the Me Too movement that every woman gets completely disregarded and called a liar when she finds the guts to come forward and make an allegation. They may be telling the truth. It's worth investigating. We don't need to knee-jerk condemn him, and we don't need to knee-jerk condemn them. I'm just pissed because what I've seen is like a rash of guys coming out to be like, it's bullshit.
You catch that,
I don't
guys?
know whether it's bullshit or not. Did you read the report of this woman? Did you read the alleged rape details? Did you read the text message that she has from Russell Brand begging for forgiveness? There's at least enough for us to want more facts. That's it.
Okay, so hold on. So let me give her. So I'm gonna break this down. There's some things I'm gonna give her credit on, some I'm gonna give her trouble on here. So here's the first thing I'm gonna give her trouble on. The first thing I'm gonna say for Megyn, the first thing that pops out to me is that, yeah, I think some of you guys caught that. Let me play this one more time. I'm going to pause it at the right moment. I forget exactly where it is, but I think it's around here. Let's put it here. So I'm gonna play this one more time
and make an allegation.
Hold on.
They may be telling the truth.
Here we go.
It's worth investigating. We don't need to knee-jerk condemn him, and we don't need to knee-jerk condemn them. I'm just pissed because what I've seen is like a rash of guys.
Okay, stop there. Rash of guys. Okay, so making this into a gender issue. And I'm sorry, but that's usually a little bit of what we call not a Freudian slip, but it's a little bit of a slip there. Because what's making people mad, and what particularly makes people mad, is the men, right? Women are allowed to speak and say stuff, but men are not allowed to speak, right? And pretending that only men are finding the problems here, that only men are finding the problems. How about, and let me just go over here real quick before I comment too much of this. I just want to put this out here for my friend Anna, right? Who is indeed a woman. I have met her in person, right? That Star Wars girl, right? people are over here calling Anna Ghislaine Maxwell. They're out here calling Anna literally the equivalent of Ghislaine Maxwell in the Jeffrey Epstein case because she literally is asking questions about the evidence because she's at all daring to question these women, right? There's many women out here like Anna, like everybody else, who are questioning this. But the fact that we say, oh, it's just guys doing this, it's like, okay, come on. That's a little bit too far, Megyn. That's a little bit too far. Can we step it back a little? Can we step it like 2 steps back? Here's where I'll agree. I'll agree that we should investigate things that are filed in court. And here's the biggest issue is that none of this is filed in court. There's no police charge. So there's no duty to investigate. And in fact, if people want to dismiss it, they can dismiss it. And this is where I do strongly agree with Megyn because nothing is filed. We have no police report. We have no civil charges. We have nothing else. Until there is a lawsuit, there is a police investigation, there's anything, there's no duty, period, full stop, end of story. It is social media gossip at best. And you have the freedom to ignore gossip. It is not facts. There's no police report. There's nothing else. Right now, we've seen no actual evidence. And by evidence, let me be very clear, and this is something I had to clarify with Nate, which I'll talk about a little bit later. When I say evidence, I mean in-court evidence. I mean legal evidence. I know a lot of people throw that out there and they use the normie evidence, and maybe we need to separate between normie evidence and not normie evidence. But simply a statement by a newspaper is not evidence. It's certainly not presented in court, so certainly not legal evidence. And we've discovered it probably doesn't even fit the definition of normie evidence. Because even in the normie evidence world, we have to scrutinize things, even beyond court. Just looking at facts, you have to discover, is this actually a fact? And the crazy thing is that people like Andy Signori are literally saying that we need to take what mainstream media says as fact. We need to take it as gospel. That's just bringing us back to what Me Too was. So what Andy is doing, what Andy's asking for, what Nate was initially asking for as well, they're asking for us to take what they're saying as gospel, right? Now, that being said, are they going to be a little bit cautious about reporting something? Maybe, but also the sources are anonymous, right? They're very old claims. So, for example, they claim there was a rape kit. Well, in many different cases, first of all, is there a rape kit? We don't know. We haven't seen it. It's not been presented. Was it just an STD test? Was it even taken? Also, you said in the report, oh, there was a rape kit taken by one of the alleged victims. Well, there's a statute of limitations on keeping those. So was it disposed of? Also, was it positive, right? You didn't say what the results were of that. Because if it came out negative, so let's say it actually happened in negative, that's exculpatory evidence, which mainstream media can be leaving out because they're journalists. It's not court, and they're journalists doing a hit job. So they can print accurately that maybe, okay, she took a test, right? But the test was negative. But all they report is she took the test. That doesn't mean jack shit. And if there wasn't a police follow-up from that, if there was an investigation following up on that, I would be shocked. So you're telling me you went down to the police, you filed a police report, which nobody can find, which we haven't seen, right? And there's a rape kit, but there isn't? No, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So I see what these folks are doing. And look, listen, I don't have a problem. In fact, I probably would agree with a lot of these folks, and I probably would go on their channel. I'll go on Andy's channel anytime. I'll go on Megyn's channel anytime. But the thing with me, and I'll also go with Nate, they're all people I will collaborate with, I'll work with. I'm just going to call out when I see stuff that's not true, and that's not an accurate presentation of the evidence. That's just the way that it should be. Is that, hey, if something is not accurate, we got to talk about it. You got to prove this in court. It's a serious accusation because this is something that can destroy somebody's career. It gets them fired. It gets contracts canceled, right? Dehako says, one thing I hate is how much the court of public opinion is treated as factual evidence at face value with no understanding of legal procedure. Yes, absolutely. 100%. And one other thing I want to bring up about this is that about Andy's tweet here is that the pendulum has not swung the other way because mainstream media and people that have large channels like Andy's channel are still taking the side of Me Too. They're still going in and taking that same perspective of I'm going to cover this. I'm going to sensationalize this, right? In order to make a buck because they know that sensationalism is going to make money, even though that comes at the risk of people's entire career. So yeah, B-Rad says seeing a lot of mid takes on Twitter lately. Yes, very true. A lot of mid takes because people are really trying on X to make money. Elon is monetized. And actually, it's pretty decent money. So I think people are really searching on Twitter, are really searching to dig in there for those shekels. I'm always going to come directly to you guys on YouTube. Also on Locals. Shout out to my Locals crowd over here. Jay, Barry One, BTC, Links, Sleazy. Good to see you guys over there. The Locals Degens. Good to see y'all as well. And Rumble, this is impromptu, so I didn't have time to get Rumble up, but normally I will have Rumble up for most streams that are planned, right? Janet Morgan says, it's ironic how Andy jumped on the same train that screwed him. I don't, it's kind of funny. It's like when your paycheck depends on getting on that train, maybe you should question your paycheck. But I guess I kind of get it. If it's what you're doing, what's what you're doing, and you're in on it, you're kind of been doing it for the longest time. So yeah, it's hard to stop that money, right? But like when it comes back and bites you, you got to start questioning it. You got to start questioning what you're doing. So in terms of the rest of Megyn's argument, so the rest of what Megyn Kelly was saying, okay, well, people are dismissing it. Well, people are allowed to dismiss it at this point because it's not a court case. We will all take it much more seriously when they go and they file, when they present evidence, when they have names, when they have people who are going to testify, like not just random anonymous people that cannot be vetted and cannot be interviewed, right? In fact, the people that are willing to put the text messages out there, the ones that are actually willing to put out the evidence, are in fact finding exculpatory evidence. In fact, every time you look deeper and deeper into it, you see more and more people finding evidence that tends to exculpate, including, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the video of this chick. So this is one of these girls that is out here, and she actually went and seems like she was hooking up with Russell Brand, and seems like they were trying to go after her. So I don't know if you guys have seen this one, but this is a very good little clip here of exculpatory evidence that they didn't bother to look into or bother to cover. Let me just play this real quick. So let me just load like a. Here, let me let this load a little bit because it's being hanky. So I'll try it one more time. The lag here is ridiculous. Let's see. YouTube trying to censor me already. It's what it is. It's what it is. Let's see here. I'm gonna try to close this extraneous bullshit down. Try to get us a little bit less laggy. All right. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's not computer problem. She just talks like that. Yeah, no, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. Let me actually just fast forward this because it's laggy as hell. Let me just fast forward this to the part where she actually talks about and brings up the actual contact information. So this chick in her laggy Twitter or TikTok video, whatever, she was contacted by the media, right? So they actually contacted her with this here you go, saying, "Hi, Kara. I hope you don't mind me contacting you here. My name is blah, 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 and I'm a journalist at the Times newspaper. We are currently working on a project in collaboration with Channel 4. And we've seen a post on your TikTok a few months ago. I've wondered if if it was something you might be able to help us with. It's fairly sensitive, so if you had a few minutes, it'd be great to have a quick chat. This is strictly for research, not for publication. Please let me know if this could work. So they contacted her. She told them she had a good experience, and of course they didn't air that, right? So that's what we would call, in the general terms, exculpatory evidence, right? So this is evidence that in court you would show evidence that tends to lead somebody to believe that they're innocent rather than guilty. So yeah, it tends to show that. And as a journalist, you should present both sides. But we saw that the left-wing media, left-wing journalists are not willing to present both sides. They just find a male and they go, okay, we've got to convict. We've got to overcure and convict. Not the way to go. Anytime a journo tells you they won't publish, it's a lie. It's very true. It's very true. Brandon, the anime guy, joins as a member. Thank you. Welcome to the membership here. The BLM, the base legal mindset, the best fucking membership on all of YouTube. Welcome. You have access to all the emojis, the lives, the rats, the sojus, the whiskeys, all sort of good stuff. And there's going to be more to come. I realize I have a lot of new slots because I have all you new members, I can make more emojis. So I'm going to make a ton of emojis. I'm just going to spam out emojis. The burning Disney castle, random castle, will be out very shortly. That one was just getting edited a bit. Janet Morgan says it's oh yeah, I think I got that one as well. So got that one from you, Janet. Appreciate you there. Yeah, I think the buffering is on the Twitter side. So one of the crazy things is that people have been really going off of this text message. And I think a lot of other people have pointed this out. I've pointed this out on Twitter, and shout out to Joker for kind of zooming in here and kind of adding the arrows. This comes from Better Bachelor's Joker. But I called out immediately on my Twitter that this was a blurry text, that something was wrong. It was missing timestamps. I did that pretty much right away. And then I think Umbrella Guy, he made a video like a little bit after, a little bit before, but he had been talking about it on a separate stream as well. That these text messages look mighty sus. And if you look at these text messages, and this is the zoomed in version, you can clearly see a break here, right? Where they were clipped together, copy pasted, and where the fuzziness starts. So you see that this part is fuzzy, the text is fuzzy, and you see, okay, right here, they did not clip it together. It's a crappy job. Right? And in terms of the audio is all AI, robot voice, clearly generated by AI for anybody who knows. So the voice, I don't even talk about the voice text, but this editing is particularly pernicious because I believe it could be a very real text message that was indeed pasted together. Right? And this is a big problem. This is a huge problem to paste together something like this. It's also missing context. It's missing potentially deleted text messages, potential text messages before, after, all sorts of stuff that could be posted around this. Let's see. Max says, please make authentic Thai lady boy emoji for Max. No, Max. No emojis for you, Max. Maybe a Suntory emoji. Maybe. Oh, nice. But yeah, this is one that people have been calling out, and it's a big problem, and it causes you to question it, and it's very reasonable. So going back to Megyn Kelly, and going back to Nate and to Andy Signori, are we not allowed to question this? Do we just have to sit here and say, oh, well, it's perfectly fine. I see no potential issues here. I see no reason to believe that the authenticity might be fake. Why do we have to believe, even if we see a text message, why do we have to believe that text message is real? In an era of very easy editing, why do we have to believe something is real? There are very easy ways to create a fake text message. Until we see it in court and we see it verified, when they get the actual phone, they download all the copies of text messages off of it. off the actual physical evidence, I'm not believing shit. I'm not believing anything. Right? So that brings us in. And what's up, potentially criminal? Good to see you, brother, in the chat. A lot of creators today. We got Meme Copium, we got Integrity Legal, potentially criminal. We got Max Mura, who's creating some degeneracy over there in Tokyo. A lot of good people. A lot of good people. So let's go over to my good friend Nate the lawyer. And I just want to give a little bit of shit to Nate, just because look, Nate has been my buddy, he's been my friend, and I will call people out who I've worked with, who I've talked to, and I do that as a sign of respect. If I don't respect somebody, I would just block them. I wouldn't even respond to them. So the fact that I responded to Nate was a sign of respect. However, I understand that Nate is going for engagement and that these are definitely engaging tweets, and I will give Nate a plus on that. So this is what Nate went and said, right? So he was like, I understand why people want Brand to be innocent. They want to believe these are all lies. I get it. These victims provided evidence. Okay, so let's put that full stop there. That looks damning and they claim it's verified. So provided evidence. Nothing is evidence yet. We don't know whether any of this would be admissible in a court of law. And my thought is here that this is indeed not at all admissible in a court of law. And yes, I indeed did ratio him here. I forgot about that. I forgot I ratioed him here. But yes, this is 100% BS. This is 100% BS. And so I said right here, and I tried to, once again, I try to be polite to him because I want to be polite. I want to be respectful. I don't think it's disingenuous, although I do think it is engaging, right? It is engaging, which, plus on Nate on that. But I said, it's not what people want. It's the facts. Brand is innocent until proven guilty, which once again, so his statement here is, I understand people want Brand to be innocent. Sorry, Nate, Brand is innocent, period, full stop. He's innocent. We live in America. This is not the CCP. This is not communist Russia. We're in America. People are innocent until proven guilty. Now, I will say that Nate came out in a later tweet and then said, oh, yeah, of course he's innocent until proven guilty, in a later tweet. But starting out with this line, I understand people want Brand to be innocent. No, he is innocent. Stop. There's no case. So this to me was the thing that really, I think, pissed off a lot of people, right? Not just me, but a lot of people. You have to look at this first line, and this language to me from a lawyer is unacceptable, right? It's not innocent. It's not a word we should just be tossing around as lawyers, because the thing is that both Nate and I are lawyers. Nate is a lawyer. I am a lawyer, right? When we say things, people take it seriously. So when you say innocent and guilty, you need to be very careful what that means. They know that in our context, people think we are talking about legal innocence and legal guilt, right? Now, if it's a normie who's not a lawyer, we can say they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right? Yeah, Ben knows I'm actually an attorney. Yes, here you go. Integrity Legal. Yes, I'm actually an attorney. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, no, we're both attorneys, so people take what we're saying seriously. So you have to be very thoughtful about what you say, which is why I am very careful about what I say. And I think really carefully about what I say, and I try not to sensationalize, right? You have to be very careful because people are going to misinterpret it, and they're normies. And you can't blame a normal person for looking at a lawyer's tweet and saying, oh, yeah, well, Nate thinks he's guilty, right? Because he says there's evidence. And that's what a normie is going to think based on this first tweet. And it's not acceptable. You have to say, no, it's not evidence. He is innocent. And we need to prove this. And right now, it's gossip. It's gossip coming from the Sunday Times. That's gossip. That's no better than the Inquirer at this point. And listen, we can all love gossip. And if we're talking about gossip, listen, your boy Legal Mindset, we'll gossip with the best. We don't want to do a gossip hour. Legal Mindset's gossip hour. I'll sit here and do that for days. I know LDB, you can do that with me for days. We can do our little gossip and tea hour, but I would call it gossip. I wouldn't say it's true. I would say it's a rumor, it's speculation, right? When I talk about the the deviant sexual interests of Mark Zuckerberg, I say it's speculation, it's gossip, right? We can just laugh about it. We all have a good laugh, right? I don't say it's evidence. Now, going down here, he kind of, you can see, and I want to point out this because it's kind of a dangerous slope. So I want to point this out. I will not ignore evidence presented as if it doesn't exist. That's crazy. So kind of we're changing the definition of evidence. So now we're saying we're provided evidence, right? Okay, so we're not going to ignore evidence presented. What evidence? First of all, the only thing that's been presented is the article, right? The article is not evidence. The article is just an article. And then he goes into straw manning on Hunter Biden. And I don't even want to, because, okay, so in case you guys don't know, there's a sort of argumentary technique, which is you create a straw man and you kind of beat up on a straw man argument. So I think talking about Hunter Biden, talking about Trump, they're kind of off topic. It's not this case. So when you start going down that hole, you start arguing about something that's not the original issue. So to me, he brings up Hunter Biden as kind of like chafe to say, well, there's evidence there and blah, 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 because he knows that's like red meat for the red side is that people want to convict Hunter Biden. So they're willing to say yes, 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 because it just says Hunter Biden. But the point is we need to be careful what we say with evidence. To be clear, there's going to be cases against Hunter Biden. In fact, the Hunter Biden cases are pending, right? So there will be courtroom evidence against Hunter Biden. But until it's entered into the evidentiary standard in court, it's not evidence. There's facts against Hunter Biden. We can say that. There's proof, you could say, even to a certain extent, a level of proof. But we've got to get it entered into evidence. We've got to have a trial. And I fully support Hunter Biden, like everybody else, getting a trial. But I'm very confident that if we have a fair trial, Hunter Biden will be in deep doo-doo. But it is a rabbit hole. It's a separate rabbit hole that we don't need to go down. So then I come back here because he brings up the Trump thing, right? Which is once again another straw man, right? So you've gone from Hunter Biden to Trump, right? So Hunter Biden guilty, Trump innocent. So saying Trump was found liable for rape in New York, that's actually a lie. He was actually not found true of rape. He was found true of sexual assault and defamation, which I do clarify. And I think that could be an honest mistake on the part of Nate, just not following that one as closely. And especially if you're in New York, you're getting a lot of periodicals who's saying he's guilty of X, Y, Z, and he's not actually. I saw the evidence and was not convinced. I followed the evidence. Well, wait, what? That doesn't make my... Well, first of all, I didn't get that. Like, I saw the evidence and I followed the evidence. So you saw the evidence, you didn't like it, but you follow it. Well, what? Okay. I look at what's entered into trial and then I use my objective mind, right? So he's using the word evidence very liberally. That's the problem here. And I make a clarification here that say, hey, listen, all evidence is not created equal. And if it's bad evidence, like in the Trump case, you've got to appeal. You've got to bring it out. But a lot of people are taking the same tact as Nate. And I don't mean to pick on Nate, by the way, but that's a great example of the tact a lot of people take in terms of thinking about these things critically. They think that what's put out there by the mainstream media, what's put out there on Twitter, whatever, is evidence, when it's speculation at best. And I am willing to listen to whatever information comes out, sure, but at the end of the day, until you file a claim in court, my take is you kind of need to get the hell out of here with your talk of evidence and proof and guilt and innocence. I don't give a shit about what you have to say about innocence and guilt until we go to court. Until we go to court, it is innocent until proven guilty. Full stop, no conversation. We do not have a conversation about guilt until trial. Full stop, end of story. We're done here. Period. So that's what I take as a lawyer, and I'm consistent on that. I've been very consistent on that. So very, very, very consistent on that. So that's what we got to do. Once again, guys, I'm not trying to hate on my colleagues. I'm not trying to be mean to them. And in fact, I'm fully willing to go on with Nate. And I'm sure if we talked about it, Nate and I could have a very reasonable conversation about it. And oftentimes, that's how these things go. And in fact, I'll oftentimes be wrong and have a reasonable conversation with somebody and change my mind. But in this particular case, my boy Nate, I think he's got to see the mea culpa here, see the area where he went wrong, and see the area where a lot of people go wrong. But I think as a lawyer, we do have a high duty to hold ourselves to those standards. Just saying. So that's what I got for today. We're going to have a premiere over there on Illegal Mindset, which I'm going to send you guys over to here as it kicks off. But I do hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy these impromptu streams. Sometimes they'll be shorter, sometimes they'll be longer. Obviously, as it gets later, I try not to keep you guys up too late. But make sure you smash that like button on the way out and stay tuned, stay here as you go and check out my premiere on my other channel. So guys, catch you later. Peace.